Hello, and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News Channel. This is an updated where to buy cryptos video. So one of the most common questions I get in the cryptocurrency on my streams is, where do I buy X coin? Like, where do I buy Kyber? Where do I buy VET? Where do I buy AGI? Where do I buy HBARs? Where do I buy CSC? Where do I buy UBT? You know, many of these coins that we've actually talked about, people don't really know where to buy them because a lot of people just know Coinbase, and Coinbase doesn't honestly have a lot of options. Coinbase, yes, they have Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, BAT, and a bunch of other like random cryptocurrencies like Orchid and stuff, but they don't have a lot of the popular coins we actually talk about. So Coinbase, obviously, I'm going to focus on the US market because I live in the US and the US market seems to be the most restricted. Now, if you live in Texas, Florida, or New York especially, I think Coinbase might actually be your only option. So, but if you live in one of the various states that it completely doesn't block out everything else, you have other options. So I'm actually going to go through all the exchanges, a couple of coins they actually list, and any kind of restrictions that they actually have. The first one I'm going to go through Coinbase. And when I'm talking about Coinbase, I'm talking about Coinbase Pro, and they do, of the coins besides the major ones, they do have Kyber network. They also have coins like REP. But Kyber is one of the ones that we've been mentioning lately, and you can actually trade KNC on Coinbase Pro. Now, Coinbase Pro's fees are actually much higher than other exchanges. So Coinbase Pro takes 0.5% either way. So if you do like a swing trade two ways, it's actually 1% in terms of fees. Not really the exchange that I would recommend you trade on because unless you have to and you have no other choice, because the fees are actually very, very high. But they do have most of the most popular coins, the top three, as well as Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Kyber Network, and a couple of others. So Coinbase Pro is your first option. Don't actually use Coinbase regular because the fees are even higher there. And that's really for newbies that don't actually, that's actually for newbies that don't actually know how to use an actual exchange. So learn how to use an actual exchange, save yourself some money. So that's Coinbase. Also, they do actually support staking for several coins. And honestly, look at the percentage you're actually getting after Coinbase takes out their fee. If it's like 8-9% or more, I would actually stake on Coinbase. I do feel my money and my coins are the safest on Coinbase. They do actually have insurance, and that actually matters a lot for me. The second one is also the second exchange that I trust the most is Binance US. They have a much wider selection of coins than Coinbase. They have VET, they have AGI, they have ICX. They also have like IOTA and several other coins that we actually talk about. So Binance.us. Now they do have restrictions. There's about 11 states they can't trade in. Of those, the biggest ones are New York, Florida, and Texas. I also don't think you can trade in like Georgia and Louisiana. I'm not sure about the entire list of states, but there's about 11 they can't trade in. But if you don't live in those 11 states, I live in Wisconsin, Binance.us is not restricted, and I can use them to trade ICX, VET, AGI, and a plethora of other coins. I'm not going to go through and mention all the coins they trade because they do trade several dozen coins. So, and they also have insurance, and they're also regulated. So Binance.us is the second one that I'm actually recommending. And Coinbase and Binance.us are the first two you should look at. If they actually have the coins, you should honestly use them. The third one is Binance Proper. Now, Binance Proper, technically you're not supposed to use it in the United States, but I know a lot of people that do. You don't have to use a VPN, but I think if they hold your coins and you're a US citizen, you are out of luck because you're technically not supposed to be able to use them. That said, I know many people on my stream do continue to use them. And I haven't really heard any reported problems, but there's always that icky feeling that if your coins get trapped somewhere, you could be screwed out of luck because you're technically not supposed to use them if they're a US citizen. However, they do support a lot of coins like HBARs, Kyber, VET, and they're the only ones on my list that actually support WAZIR X. Of course, WAZIR supports WAZIR X, but that's an Indian exchange that you really don't have access to. So Binance Proper, Binance.com is an option for many people, and they actually do support HBARs, Kyber, VET, WAZIR-X, ICX, AGI, and a lot of those other coins. So most things you can actually find on Binance. The third one is Bittrex. Now Bittrex US and Bittrex International are actually separated, and when you're on Bittrex US, there's a couple of coins you can't see. But I do think you can actually see, I know that at least on their list, they list HBARs and VET, and yes, Bittrex's interface does suck. And they've but I've never really known any real problems with Bittrex. So because I've never known any real problems with Bittrex, I would actually have to recommend Bittrex as well. Yeah, they had a couple of like Donald Duck accounts, but that's mainly like people with a couple of fake accounts, and I don't think it's actually, I honestly don't think it's that big of a deal. And Bittrex, I've never heard anyone like saying that their funds got lost at Bittrex. I've only heard of people saying that Bittrex's interface sucks, which honestly, it really does suck. So you're gonna have to get used to their UI because everything else on Bittrex seems okay, and they do have HBARs and VET. The fourth one is BitTrue. Now, BitTrue operates in kind of, I think, like a legal gray area because I actually don't think they have the state-by-state licenses that the other exchanges that I mentioned do, and they're just like kind of going for the fact that that the authorities won't come after them, which is probably a pretty safe bet in most states. BitTrue, we actually talked to one of their reps or one of their ambassadors, and we said, hey, your fact actually says that you don't operate in the US yet. And then like 10 minutes later, they're like, look again. And then they just added US under their list of countries. So that's a little bit sketchy. I don't really know if they're like they can legally operate in all those states, but I haven't heard of any problems with BitTrue. So I can't really say anything bad about them. They work pretty well for people that use them, and that's really all that matters right now. But I feel a little bit weird with BitTrue because of that interaction. But they do have Kyber network, and they do actually have they're one of the only exchanges that actually has casino coin CSC. And for BitTrue, if you want to trade on the XRP pair for many of these coins, they actually have a lot of these XRP pairs. So that could be an advantage because XRP does move between exchanges much faster than Bitcoin. So BitTrue is the fifth option. The sixth one is IDEX. IDEX is a decentralized exchange. It does have coins like Kyber and UBT, which is Unibright. So, but Kyber doesn't have that much volume, and the liquidity on Kyber for many pairs is actually very low. So you might run into some slippage issues. But IDEX, a decentralized exchange, it also has a lot of Ethereum pairs because it's based on Ethereum. So IDEX is the sixth exchange that you could actually possibly use in the US. The seventh exchange is actually this exchange that not many people know about. It's called Liquid. Now, there is a restriction on Liquid. Basically, Liquid offers its services to users worldwide with the exception of the following countries, and you can see the following countries. The US is not on that list of countries, but in addition, if you reside in the United States, you can't trade fiat pairs on the platform. So you cannot trade USD, Euro, and other pairs on the platform, but you can trade BTC pairs on the platform. And Liquid actually has HBARs. It was one of the first exchanges to get HBARs, so they have the HBARs BTC pair if you want to buy Hedera Hashgraph. So Liquid is the seventh exchange, but remember, if you live in the States, you cannot trade fiat pairs on Liquid. The eighth one is Kyber Network itself. It actually has UBT and KNC, and it also has a lot of Ethereum pairs. The main problem on Kyber is that it doesn't have much liquidity, so you might be dealing with some slippage or very low volume on what you actually want to buy. So Kyber Network is actually the seventh one that you can actually use in the United States. And last but not least, there is KuCoin. Now, if you're a US citizen and you use KuCoin, I actually recommend you not do the KYC. I think you can use it even with a KYC, but I don't think they technically serve the US. I'm not sure, but I know a lot of people actually do use KuCoin without the KYC. You are restricted to 2 Bitcoins a day, but I don't think that's actually a problem for most people. 2 coins a day in terms of like import-export volume, which means you can only withdraw 2 Bitcoins, but 2 Bitcoins is like $17,000, and I don't think, well, $14,000 or $15,000 or whatever right now. And I don't think most people will actually have a problem with that because most people don't, $16,000 a day. Most people that watch my channel, at least. So KuCoin also has VET and AGI, and they also have KuCoin's list of coins is actually fairly long. They have many coins that Binance actually doesn't have. But like I said, I wouldn't do the KYC on them, but I've never heard people report problems with KuCoin. I think they're pretty legit, and they're actually growing to be a bigger and bigger exchange. So that is the last exchange I would actually recommend to US people. So if your coin is not on one of these 8 exchanges, you might want to find another coin to actually invest in, because most legitimate coins are going to be on one of these 8 exchanges, and you can access these exchanges if you're in the US. So once again, the exchanges are Coinbase, Binance.us, Binance, Bittrex, BitTrue, IDEX, Liquid, Kyber, and KuCoin. So that is the episode for today. Hope that helped you. Like and subscribe, and hit that bell notifications button. Thank you, and have a nice day.